Lake Naivasha, August morning, 2019. I'd fished these waters my entire life, 32 years. Knew every inlet, every current. The hippos, sure, they were there, but we'd learned to read them. Stay clear when they yawned, give them space. That morning, the water was glass. My brother was 20 feet ahead in his canoe. We were checking our nets. Then, silence. The kind that makes your skin crawl. The boat just erupted, splintered like a matchstick. My brother screamed once, just once before he went under. I saw the shape, massive, gray. Those jaws opened so wide, I could see down its throat. I paddled. God, I paddled harder than I've ever moved in my life. Behind me, I heard the crunch, wood snapping. Then, nothing, just ripples spreading across perfect water. They found pieces of his boat 3 days later. My brother, he's still out there, somewhere in that river, with the animal everyone thinks is cute. Welcome back to Patrick's Arena. What you just heard, that's the reality behind the goofy disguise. The hippopotamus, that round, silly-looking river cow from every kid's cartoon, kills an estimated 500 people every single year across Africa. 500, that's more than lions, leopards, buffalo, and great white sharks combined. And here's the kicker that's going to blow your mind. They're herbivores. They don't hunt us for food. They don't need us to survive. So why the body count? Because we've been lied to. That cute, chubby disguise, it's covering the most territorial, aggressive, and unpredictable large mammal on the African continent. An animal built like a 3,000-pound tank with a bite force that can snap a crocodile in half. Today we're stripping away the cartoon lies. We're going back 55 million years to meet its whale cousins. We're breaking down the biological weapons that make it a killing machine. And we're answering the question that terrifies every African fisherman. How do you survive when the river itself wants you dead? I'm Patrick. This is Patrick's Arena. And the truth about the hippo is way more disturbing than you've been told. Let's get into it. The evolutionary deception, the origin story. All right, arena warriors, before we talk about the kills, we need to talk about the biology, because understanding what a hippo really is, changes everything. For decades, scientists thought hippos were related to pigs. Made sense, right? Look at them. But then DNA testing in the 1980s dropped a biological bombshell that rewrote the textbooks. The hippo's closest living relatives aren't pigs. They're whales, dolphins, porpoises. You're not looking at a river cow. You're looking at a whale that decided to walk. The whale connection. About 55 million years ago, their common ancestor split. One branch went full ocean and became blue whales. The other branch stayed in rivers and swamps, eventually becoming hippos through species like Anthracotheres and Hippopotamus. And this explains everything about their power. Dense, heavy bones like a diver's, weight belt so they can walk on riverbeds. They don't swim. They gallop underwater like astronauts on the moon. They hold their breath for 5 minutes. Eyes, ears, and nostrils on top of their skull like a submarine's periscope. This isn't some random evolutionary accident. This is 55 million years of perfecting one specific job, dominating the boundary between land and water. And when you cross into their territory, you're triggering defensive instincts older than the pyramids. But here's what makes them truly terrifying. Those ancient whale genes. They built weapons that can crush bone like crackers. Stay with me, the arsenal gets worse. Anatomy of a killer. The biological weapons. Let's break down the biological nightmare you're actually dealing with. Because this isn't just big. This is precision-engineered devastation. Weapon 1, the jaws of obliteration. A hippo can open its mouth 150 degrees, almost a flat line. Inside, canine tusks that grow up to 20 inches long, self-sharpening. Every time they close their mouth, those tusks grind against each other like a knife on a whetstone. Bite force? NR, PSI. For context, A lion hits 650 psi. A great white shark, about 650 psi. This thing generates enough crushing power to snap a canoe in half, to crack a crocodile's spine, to crush a human skull like it's made of paper. And here's what keeps me up at night. They don't eat meat. This isn't hunting equipment. This is pure territorial defense. They're not trying to feed. They're trying to eliminate threats. The speed deception. Now you're thinking, but Patrick, they're fat. I can just run away, right? Wrong, dead wrong. And this is where the goofy disguise gets people killed. On land, this 3,000-pound biological tank hits 30 miles per hour in short bursts. Usain Bolt, fastest human in history, tops out at 27 almost, unless you're literally an Olympic sprinter on your best day. That hippo catches you. In water, even more terrifying. They use their webbed toes to gallop along the riverbed. They're faster, more agile, and they can hold their breath longer than you can. You're not escaping. You're just choosing where you die. The armor. And if you think you can hurt them, think again. 2-inch thick skin over massive muscle and fat. That reddish fluid they secrete. Blood sweat. It's actually hyposudoric acid. Natural sunscreen, moisturizer, and antibiotic all in one. Which means when they get into fights with other hippos, and they do, constantly, their own sweat heals the wounds. It's a self-repairing tank with anger management issues. But the weapons are only half the nightmare. The real terror? The psychology. Because hippos don't just kill randomly, they've got a pattern, and it's calculated. The killing pattern. Territorial warfare. Here's what separates the hippo from every other deadly animal we've covered in the arena. Lions hunt when they're hungry. Sharks attack when they mistake you for prey. Hippos, they attack because you exist in their space. Male hippos claim 50 100-meter stretches of river. That's their kingdom. Not the grazing land. They share that. Just the water. And they defend it with psychotic fury. You're in a boat? That's an intruder. You're swimming? That's a threat. You're fishing at dawn? You just crossed into a war zone. And here's the worst part. They attack from below. The ambush predator. During the day, they're submerged. Just eyes and nostrils above water. Conserving energy. Watching. And because they can. Hold their breath for 5 minutes. You have no idea where they are. So picture this. You're in a wooden canoe, early morning, checking your nets like you've done 1,000 times. The water's calm, beautiful sunrise. You're thinking about breakfast. Then the world explodes. Your boat isn't floating anymore. It's airborne. You hit the water. You're disoriented. And before you can process what's happening, those jaws clamp down. Lake Victoria, Zambezi River, Okavango Delta. The stories are identical. Fishermen vanish, boats found in pieces, bodies when they're recovered, showing massive crushing trauma, puncture wounds from tusks, abdominal injuries from being dragged underwater, the human toll. And here's what makes this tragedy even worse. The victims are almost always innocent. Women washing clothes, kids playing by the riverbank, fishermen trying to feed their families, people who've lived alongside hippos their entire lives, following all the traditional safety rules. But the rivers are shrinking. Climate change, dam construction, agriculture diverting water, hundreds of hippos forced into smaller and smaller pools. It's like being stuck in an elevator with 50 angry strangers for 3 months. Something's gonna snap. But here's the question everyone's afraid to ask. Could you actually survive an encounter? One man did, and his story is absolutely horrifying. Stay with me. The survivor, Paul Templar. March 9th, 1996, Zambezi River, Zimbabwe. Paul Templar, 28-year-old safari guide, British Army veteran, expert on these waters. It was supposed to be his day off, but his friend had malaria, so Paul stepped in to lead a photographic safari. 10 people, 3 canoes, 1 kayak. Tourists wanting to capture the perfect sunset shot of hippos. They're paddling carefully, Paul's leading them around a pod of hippos. Standard procedure. Then his apprentice guide, Evans, somehow drifts off course, straight toward a mother hippo and her calf. And that's when Paul's world ended. The attack. The hippo erupts from below. Evans's canoe flies into the air. Evans hits the water. And Paul, because he's a good man, because he's trained for emergencies, turns his canoe around to rescue him. Next thing Paul knows, he's waist deep down a hippo's throat. Darkness, crushing pressure on his back. Can't breathe, can't move, can't scream. The hippo's gag reflex saves him, spits him out. But this isn't over, not even close. Paul reaches Evans, who's frozen in shock, and the hippo comes back. The horror. Second time, Paul's waist deep again, but now his arms are free. He's reaching for his gun, but the thrashing, the sheer power, makes it impossible. He watches his skin tear off like a hot knife through butter. His words, not mine. Somehow he escapes again. Evans is gone, disappeared under the surface, and just when Paul thinks he's reached safety. Third time, the hippo grabs him again, drags him under. This time, Paul thinks it's over. This is how he dies, the aftermath. But the hippo finally releases him. Another guide, Mac, pulls Paul onto a rock. They've got no first aid kit, no gun, no radio. 2 canoes, 1 paddle. Paul's lung is punctured, gaping hole in his back. Bite marks everywhere. 1 forearm crushed to pulp, bleeding out. And they still have to paddle 8 hours to the nearest hospital. Evans's body was found days later. No bite marks. He drowned during the chaos. Paul survived, lost 1 arm, kept both legs, got a completely new perspective on life. And you know what Paul does now? He goes back to that river, not as a guide. He's a motivational speaker, but he goes back because he understands something most people don't. The hippo wasn't evil, wasn't malicious. It was defending its space the only way evolution taught it how. With overwhelming, crushing violence. Yeah, the biological truth. So let's bring this into the arena. Why does the goofy hippo kill 500 people a year while the terrifying lion only kills 250? It comes down to 3 factors: overlap, predictability, and weaponry. Factor 1, overlap. Lions live in savannas. You can avoid them. Hippos live in rivers, the same rivers people depend on for water, fishing, transportation, washing clothes. You can't avoid them every day. Millions of Africans have to share space with the continent's most aggressive animal. Factor 2, predictability. Lions hunt at night. They stalk. They give signals, growls, posturing. You usually see it coming. Hippos? They explode from calm water with 0 warning. 1 second you're fine. Next second your boat is matchsticks. And you're underwater with 3,000 pounds of fury. Factor 3, weaponry. Lion kills with suffocation, clamps on throat, waits for you to pass out. It's brutal but relatively quick. Hippo, crushing bite, dragging, drowning, trampling. The injuries are catastrophic. Survival rate is drastically lower. But here's what really gets me about this whole situation. We created this problem: colonial-era hunting, habitat destruction, dams, climate change. We've squeezed these animals into smaller and smaller spaces, then act shocked when they defend those spaces violently. In the 1970s, there were an estimated 150,000 hippos across Africa. Today, maybe at 115,000, they're classified as vulnerable, poached for their ivory teeth, shot by farmers protecting crops, killed in human-wildlife conflict. The hippo isn't winning this war. We are. The 500 deaths a year, that's tragic, but we kill thousands of them. The difference? We have guns, bulldozers, and the ability to drain entire river systems. So who's really the apex predator here? Is the hippo a mindless killing machine? No, it's a highly evolved, supremely adapted creature whose #1 priority is protecting its territory in a world that's collapsing around it. That goofy disguise? It's real. They do look silly. They do have that ridiculous yawn. But underneath, you're looking at 55 million years of evolution perfecting the art of aquatic dominance. Whale DNA in a land mammal's body. Crushing jaws, self-healing armor, hair-trigger territorial instincts. The lesson? The victims. People like Paul Templar's friend Evans, like that fisherman's brother from Lake Naivasha. They're not statistics. They're real people who lost their lives because we forced humans and hippos into impossible proximity. So what do you think? Does the hippo deserve its Africa's deadliest title? Or are we focusing on the wrong killer? Drop your take in the comments, because I genuinely want to hear your perspective on this, and if you've ever had a close call with wildlife. Doesn't have to be a hippo. Could be anything. Share your story below. This community is built on real experiences and honest conversations. If this investigation completely changed how you see hippos, smash that like button, because next week, we're analyzing another deceptive killer that everyone underestimates. Before you go, if you want to see another case of animals turned killers, the Champawat tigress video is right here. 436 confirmed human kills by a single tiger with a broken mouth. And over here, the Ramri Island massacre. The night 980. Japanese soldiers vanished into crocodile-infested swamps. Both investigations will mess with your head. I'm Patrick. This is Patrick's Arena, where we don't just tell nature stories, we investigate the truth behind them. Stay curious, stay skeptical, and most importantly, stay away from calm African rivers.